Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Today's video, I'm going to go through some goodies that I got from an antique store. So we just got back from Tennessee, and while I was there, I went to an antique store, and I always like to look through their buttons. Buttons actually make good components for jewelry. For example, this bracelet I have on, it makes a really nice closure. So let's see what we have here. Let's go through these first. You know, in addition to closures, you could actually also use them in earrings if you have a matching set, or necklaces. I don't really know what I'm going to do with these. They're really pretty though. These are all the same. I love this side. Isn't that pretty? These two match. These almost look like abalone. These are probably some type of a shell. And honestly, these were more expensive than some of the other ones I have here. And it's probably because they're made of some type of a shell. Let's see what these are. Ooh, look at those. Again, these are from a shell. Oh, look at that, mother of pearl. I don't know if it's coming across as beautiful on the camera there as it is in person. These are beautiful. Oh, I'm wanting to create something. I really don't know what. And maybe something will come to mind as I'm going through the rest of these buttons. Let's see what we have here. Well, that's interesting. We have a belt loop. Oh, these are pretty. Have you ever made jewelry with buttons? Have you ever made anything else with buttons? I'd be really curious. Let me know down in the comment section below what creations you've done with buttons besides sewing with them. I do have some in here. I think they're in here. There was a bag I was looking at that I thought, oh, I might send those to my sister. They would make great buttons for her dolls. Yep, this was them here. I can get this open. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Those would really make nice embellishments on doll clothes. And then the last ones we have, I think these are all the same, yeah. And I really thought these were interesting. I love the sheen on them and the shape. Now to figure out what button or buttons to choose to put in what. So it was a really hard decision on what exactly I wanted to do and with what buttons, but I finally figured it out. I'm going to use these really pretty mother of pearl buttons to make a pair of earrings. And so I've got my button, and you can do this with any buttons. It doesn't have to be these exact ones. I have a little wood saucer bead. I have some fossil agate, and I do have a couple of bead caps in antique brass, along with an antique brass wire and an antique brass ear wire and an antique brass jump ring. and an antique brass bead here. I got this from Jesse James Beads. In fact, a lot of these beads I got from Jesse James. These two and the saucer bead. And I just picked out just some random colors. I have a little green square cube here and a little faceted brown glass oval. And then I have 3 pieces of hemp. And I don't know how long they are. Let's see. Let me get my ruler and measure it. They're about 16 inches. You don't really need that many. But, and then here, let's see how much wire do I have here. About 7 inches of wire. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my button and my 3 pieces of hemp, and I'm going to feed them into the hole. This is going to hang down at the bottom. So once I find the middle, I got to make them as even as possible. I'm just going to tie an overhand knot. And you know, you could do this using 2 pieces instead of 3 pieces. I wouldn't use less than, I would use 2 to 3 pieces. Okay, once you get that tied, you're just going to tighten it up. All right. And now we're just going to feed our beads onto these strands and tie overhand knots. Let's see. I think I will. So now with hemp, you're going to have a variation of thicknesses. And so when you're putting on your beads, kind of think about that. Some of your beads are going to have smaller holes than others. So you might want to think this out before you put your bead on there, because you don't want to wind up with a thick, like one thick cord left, and you have a bead that has a really tiny hole. So keep that in mind. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this green bead on first. And if it's too thick, you can kind of cut the bottom at an angle to kind of make like a point, and it will feed through those holes a lot nicer, okay? So I think I'm going to let it hang down about there. So I want to tie, I'm going to tie a couple of overhand knots. I think one would be sufficient, but I want this real boho looking, and I want the knots to almost be like a bead. It will have the look of another bead. And so if you're going to do that, you want to make sure you tie those knots on top of each other. Okay, so I've got that. And let's see. I think the next one I'm going to do is that one, and that fits pretty nicely. I'm going to let that hang a little bit lower. And just continue to put your beads how you want them. And remember, when you're doing earrings, you kind of want them to match. I think since this is a fringe, or a tassel rather, it won't be that noticeable if your beads are a little bit off on the other earring. Let's see. Now I think I'm going to do this fossil agate. And I'll come up a little bit higher there. Just kind of alternate the the length that you're allowing for your hemp. Anyway, I'm going to finish doing this and I'll be back to show you what I'm going to do next. I still need to put another fossil agate, and I'm going to use some bead caps on either side, and then I got to put this on there. All right, I have all my beads on here, and I did leave one of these strings just kind of loose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it off, and I'm going to fray the ends. And I'll be honest with you, the reason I did this, when I was making the other earring, I didn't like the way the bead looked. So I just cut it off, and I kind of like the way this tassel just kind of hung off on it. So I just kind of take a bead reamer, or you could take a pin or a needle and just fray out the fibers and then just trim it off. And then what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to trim them off, and then let me go ahead and show you. Here's the other earring. But I'm going to take this and trim it off a little bit longer than I need, because I'm going to fray these, but I still will trim them out. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't have one of my earrings longer than the other, so that's why I brought that out, just to kind of measure. And so, again, you just kind of unravel the fringe and make a fringe. All right, Terry, learn to talk here. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm sorry. All right, and once I get to that point, I just kind of measure a little bit with my fingers. I'm going to trim that off and then fray it out a little bit more. And then I'll do this with the rest of the strings, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. All right, I think I got them all fringed out. And now we need to do the top part and hang the ear wire. Okay, so I'm just going to take my wire here. I'm going to put it in the top hole. And then I'm just going to twist the ends just to make one wire. Okay, once we get it, and it doesn't have to be neat. Just one wire. I'm going to take that large whole wood bead and just put it down on the bottom there. And then this is where you need some round nose pliers. And I'm just going to bend it over and make a messy wrapped loop. Just wrap it around and around. Once you get it wrapped, you're going to need to find a place to tuck those wires in. Kind of underneath there. All right. And then, this is where you need your jump ring. And I'm using a jump ring because this is going to give it a little bit more movement as it's hanging on the ear wire. Oops. And then close it up and you're done with your earrings. These are actually pretty easy to do. They are time consuming, but they are really a fun pair of earrings. I absolutely love the way they turned out. They are definitely a boho, but they're almost a Southwest boho look, I think. I absolutely love them. Believe me, they are a little on the big side, but they're not heavy. They are definitely a statement piece. Let me put them on and show you what they look like on. Before I do that though, I just wanted to turn this around and show you this side. Now if you wanted to flip this over and make this the front, you could, but honestly, these are going to dangle and twist and turn, so you'll be able to see all the different sides of these. All right, let me put them on. And here's what they look like on. I absolutely love them. You ladies who like your big earrings, you would love these too. So I'm going to go outside and tackle that hot, humid weather that we're having here in Louisiana right now. And I'm going to take some close-up pictures of these so you can actually get a really good look at them. And let me know down in the comment section below, like I said, if you have ever made any button jewelry or button crafts at all. I'm really curious. I want to thank y'all for joining me today, and y'all have a fantastically wonderful day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.